I'm having a crappy day, but I put myself together. And the person's handing me my food and they're like, "You're so gorgeous." I'm like, "Thank you." They just made my entire day. So to say that we don't care about that, I would have to call cap that people do care about validation. People do want compliments. People do want a gaze, even if it's from women. I take compliments from women more like I take it in more than a man because I'm like a man is like,
Hey, I
okay,
like everything.
What we learn about what beauty is supposed to look like comes from a woman. And it's typically a woman who has been chosen.
mm-hmm.
Because a man chose me because I presented this way. And so, in order for you to get chosen, let me teach you how to present this way. But because it's being taught through women, if you're not doing it for yourself, you're never going to keep up, right? Like when we look at the trends, it went from hardly any makeup to almost like dragish, like tons of makeup, to now it's a no makeup look, to like there's, and even when it comes to bodies, we went from the girls who had no behind with big boobies, to like, you know, the really skinny girls that look like little boys, to like, you know, the BBLs, and now the BBLs are on the way. You can't. You can never keep up, because the moment you're on that trend is already on its way out. And if you are not happy with the way that you look, if you are not doing it for yourself, if it is not fulfilling to you and how you see yourself, you're just in this like rat race, right? Like just trying to constantly stay ahead of the next trend, and that's damaging, right? Not just on the internal, that's physically damaging too, right? And I think that's important, that not everybody has to look the same, because if we're honest, not all men like the same thing. Like some men have their preferences, some women have their preferences, and if we can stop trying to get people to conform to our preferences and just find people that naturally fit into what we're looking for. If you like a girl with a beat face, pick yourself a girl who already beats her face. If you like a natural look, pick a woman who already is into that natural look. I think when we start to ask people to fit into a box that they don't belong in,
Yep.
I think that's where these standards get really crazy.
Yeah,
You
it's
know,
that.
it's so
Yeah.
okay. Go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead. Go ahead.
You know, that was so funny that she mentioned the body types, because I remember when B Taylor was telling me about her church story. My church story is very different. My grandmother used to tell me to wear a girdle so my booty wouldn't jiggle. Um, and so and a slip on top of the girdle. And I remember growing up actually wanting a flat butt, y'all. I actually used to hold it in.
Oh my God,
That's where big butts
no.
were in. Let me just tell you. It was only celebrated by the black community, but I went to a white school. So and so I used to want a flat butt. I mean, I'm thinking to myself, like, what the? I'm so glad God didn't listen to that. But I did. And I used to, it was the same story with the body thing. I had this body, and my grandmother wanted me to contain it at church because it was just not the body for church.
I think a lot of black women go through that with women who naturally are shaped like a BBL. Like growing up, they were either sexually harassed by older men and they got the wrong attention, or they were called fast, or you know, they were body shamed by the older women. Cover up. That dress is too short. You can't wear that. You have to be particular of what clothes you wear. So I definitely agree with that. Women are, I don't think men understand, like women go through so much critique growing up, and then we got to hear you guys talk about, you know, our hair, and especially black women, our hair, our makeup. And you know, I understand what Lady Mogul had said when she was saying they want to tell women apart from transgender women, because you know it is a trend to do the heavy makeup and the contouring to look, you know, more feminine. um and I think women are kind of catching on. I used to contour heavy back when it was like a thing, when Kim Kardashian started doing it, because let's be honest, women can say all day we do it for ourselves, or we do it for um you know, we get a BBL for ourselves. It's never for ourselves. It's always because people want validation. People like the male gaze. Regardless if you're out and about with your friends and all your friends are getting chosen, ain't nobody looking at you, nobody's paying attention to you, you are going to feel some type of way eventually. It's going to start to make you feel like, well, why is no one talking to me? Like, and it's not, it feels good to get attention. Like, people will be lying if they say they didn't like someone giving them a compliment. You could be having a crappy day and somebody go, "You are so pretty." Like, like that makes my day. Like if I'm in a drive-through and I'm having a crappy day, but I put myself together and the person's handing me my food and they're like, "You're so gorgeous." I'm like, "Thank you." They just made my entire day. So to say that we don't care about that, I would have to call cap that people do care about validation. People do want compliments. People do want a gaze, even if it's from women. I take compliments from women more. Like I take it in more than a man because I'm like, a man is like, okay,
I like everything.
They'll say whatever to whatever. They got an agenda. But when a woman goes out her way to nudge her crown at you and call you beautiful, it's more because she didn't have to do that. She don't have no agenda. She's not trying to get with me. She's just genuinely letting me know you look really beautiful and I want you to know that. Like, wow, like it's more of a compliment. So I think women also look for women validation as
Probably
well,
more
ladies. Huh?
I would say probably, I would say probably more so than men. Like, I feel like a lot of women, like men think that women get dressed for them. Like if the woman's not getting dressed for herself, she's getting dressed to hang out with like her girls or to look good to other women. Like
Yeah.
y'all men don't know unless y'all are into fashion what looks good. Like
Exactly.
you get hit on when we go to the store in sweatpants. So like if we're going out, we want to look good amongst our friends. We're not necessarily trying to get dressed for the male gaze. So I'm kind of pushing back a little bit on that because I ain't gonna hold you. I unless it's a man that I want, I really don't care too much like about. And then I to both Shantae and your point, like your story. So I was a late bloomer growing up. Like I got my curves late. Like I was super skinny, 00 in school, flat chested. I had like hips or whatever. I was super petite. But once I did start coming into myself, I kind of felt weird because now I'm in college and like, I only went up to like a size 3, but I appreciate my curves now, because after I had my daughter, I went up to size 6 and I've kind of stayed between size 6 and 8, 10. So like, like I appreciate it now, but like, sometimes it's like the attention that you get from guys is not the same as the attention that you would get from like your sisters or other women around because like you said, it comes from a different place. So
I don't agree with that. I don't. I think because when we look at where like the idea of looking good for your girls comes from, right? Like B. Taylor talked about how her grandmother ingrained that in her. What we learn about what beauty is supposed to look like comes from a woman. And it's typically a woman who has been chosen. Mm-hmm. Because a man chose me because I presented this way. And so in order for you to get chosen, let me teach you how to present this way. But because it's being taught through women, we bond over that experience. We're flattered that it's not competition and it's compliments. I think there's like this really interesting dynamic that happens where it's softer, right? It doesn't feel like critique when it's coming from another woman. She's looking out for your best interest. Mm-hmm. But it's still in the male gaze because when we start to look at what beauty looks like in the feminine gaze, it's a whole different ballgame.
Yeah, it is.
You're not dressing like that to hang out with your girls if it's in the female gaze. Right? We're reinforcing the male gaze amongst each other and we're wrapping it up in something that feels cozy and good and we're saying we're doing it for each other. but the gaze is still male.
Yes, I agree.
I mean, I guess to
I
an
agree with
extent
that.
you can say that. I don't know. Maybe not. Because I still feel like, yes, it's, okay. So I can say I can appreciate a respectful compliment from a guy. But again, I feel like when we get dressed, at least for me, I can't speak for everybody else. Obviously, we all have different perspectives. But when I get dressed, I know my girls are coming out and stepping out and getting dressed to the nines. So we have to represent as a crew together. Like, we gotta look good for like together. Like, I don't take pictures often, but when I go out with my girls, I know we're eternalizing these memories. We're taking
How do y'all know y'all look good though?
Well, that's what I was gonna say. I think we
Yeah.
dress for we dress for men's gaze and attraction, but we want the confirmation from women approval to be like, yeah, girl, you look good. You're about to get somebody tonight, girl. You know.
Okay.
So,
I feel
Because who sets the fashion trends? It's-
yeah.
the fashion houses are designed typically by men, and so like and like even the
Makeup is
idea
designed
of
by men
red,
too.
right? Even the idea of red being this really
Amen.
sexy color, men came up with that. Women aren't the biggest fan of red. We
that's
wear it because it makes us feel sexy because somebody told us that it's sexy.
Yeah, men
Well,
told us.
Well, that's actually an Asian thing. Red represents success and all those things. But I mean, yeah, that too. I mean, it definitely invokes sexy. But to the point that like you guys were saying, yeah, I do feel like, yeah, okay. That's like, I feel like that's a plus, the male gaze. But again, I feel like a man is gonna gaze. They're gonna look. They're gonna look, and if they like what they see, then they like what they see. So yeah, you can dress a certain way to get the attention of men, but like we tend to know how, like, I don't know, I feel like we know we look good based on like how we look together. I don't know, like
I see what she's saying, but
Yeah.
at the end of the day, if I go out, and I'm going to be honest with you, just completely honest, if I don't get one guy hitting on me, I'm like, this was not a hit. I'm not wearing that dress no more. I don't care how great my girlfriends think I look. If I don't get, I'm like, oh, that must have not have been positive like I thought it was. Something's wrong. They must be married.
And it's nothing like going out and you walk in a room and not only are men looking at you, but the women are also looking at you. You like, I'm a bad bitch. Like, yes, like this was a hit. Like I
Yeah,
look
both.
good.